Hi, Lisbon. I assume you're here because you're starting a company and you want to raise money, right? I know we're going to talk about it on a panel, but I'm a pretty well-known American entrepreneur and fundraiser. I've got 50 companies over the last 25 years or so. But what I'm going to do is introduce you to the company that I'm building now. It's called Fair, and it's a totally new way to get a car entirely on your phone. It doesn't involve any commitment or confrontation with a car dealer. But by way of introduction, I've had a couple of different public companies that I've built in the space. I was the founder and CEO of a company called CarsDirect.com, which went public under the name Internet Brands. We were the first company on the internet to put an upfront price on a new car. I then founded a company called TrueCar, took it public in 2014. I have spent most of my adult life trying to figure out how to make buying and owning a car easier and less costly, leveraging technology. So let me tell you a little bit about what we've built, why we've built it, and how it's going. And I'm going to tell you about Fair as an app through the experience of my 16-year-old son. I've got 4 kids, but my oldest is 16. His name is Luke. And Luke just got his driver's license. And if any of you have a teenager in the house, I don't know what the driving age here in Europe is, but in America it's 16. So you know when you have a 16-year-old, the day he got his driver's license, he downloaded the Fair app, and he scanned his driver's license. And the first thing that we're looking for when you download the Fair app is we're looking for a valid driver's license. We want to make sure you don't have a DUI or a reckless driving ticket, that you're going to be driving a car, our car, on public roads. And the first thing we see when Luke signs in is that he's got his driver's license, he's passed his test, and we then require a form of payment. And the big idea at Fair is that we're not a credit business. We're not lending Luke money. We're allowing Luke to get the car that he wants by going ahead, scanning his ID, and then linking his bank account. So as soon as he got his driver's license, the first thing he went to go do is set up his bank account. And then he came back, negotiated with his mother and I about his car payments relative to his grades, because we had to Venmo him enough money to get some money into his bank account. But as soon as he went and downloaded or uploaded his bank account information, we could see exactly how much money he's got to spend. And all the cars in the app that he can afford instantly start coming up. So he begins shopping right in the app. And all of the cars are presented in the form of a monthly payment. These are all pre-owned cars. And there's a structural reason for that. But pre-owned cars represent a better value. And really what we've created is an opportunity to subscribe to that car. So what Luke sees in the app are all cars, and the monthly payment includes a warranty, roadside assistance, a standard maintenance plan so that he can have the confidence of peace of mind of knowing that he's got a car that's going to be reliable. Everything that he does in the app is right there on his phone. He never has to go into the dealership and sign a piece of paper with an actual pen or anything. Once he selects a car that he wants, now Luke ended up getting a Dodge Challenger. That's not the car that his mom wanted, but it turns out that when you turn 16, getting a car is a big part of sort of becoming 16. You sort of form your identity, and you really start to decide who you want to be in the world based on the car that you're driving. So he chose the car that he wanted based on the budget that he could afford, and that single monthly payment represents an all-in cost of ownership. The most important thing is Luke is 16. He's going to be going to college in a couple of years. And modern life needs and requires a lot of flexibility. So when Luke is ready to go to school, no matter where he goes, he can simply turn in his vehicle. And now when he goes to a new location, based on what his needs are, and maybe he'll get that Honda Accord that his mom wanted him to get, he can turn in the car without having to go through the process of figuring out how to sell the car and then buy a new car. So all of the complexity, the tax, the title, the registration, everything that goes along with car ownership goes away. We take care of all of that and make it much simpler for him. Now, when you think about sort of what we've created for Luke, it's a worry-free way to get the car that you want. He can keep that car for as long as he wants and then turn it in when he's done. The reason why we built this, you've got 1.5 billion used cars on planet Earth. These cars sell about 10% a year. 150 million used cars are sold every year. So the used car market is about 4 to 5 times larger than the new car market. And the velocity is that the average customer holds a car for between 5 and 6 years, but it turns out with the 1.5 billion cars, you've got about $5 trillion of consumer automotive debt. 90% of people do not pay cash for their car. The average car costs about a third of the average consumer's net worth, no matter where you live on the planet. So it's a big purchase. It needs or requires financing. There is currently no real alternative to a used car loan. 75% of that $5 trillion is at greater than 10% interest rate. So it's classic subprime automotive debt. And the big idea at Fair is that we're not lending our customers money. We're actually buying the car. When Luke goes into that app and picks the car that he wants, we operate with a license. As a dealer, we buy that car and we simultaneously enter into an agreement with him to use that vehicle. But we're not a credit business. We're not lending customers money. We are a payments business. He's got to link that payment digitally into the app. But what we're really enabling is the car as a service. So let me just sum up by saying we're a 2.5-year-old company. We've got 350 people. We're headquartered in Santa Monica, California. We've also got offices in Phoenix. Along the way, we've made a number of acquisitions. Last January, we bought Uber's exchange leasing business. Uber got into the leasing business because they recognized that their drivers need a solution to get behind the wheel of a car. Half of all gig economy and rideshare drivers cannot even qualify for a traditional car loan, so they're renting their car. This delivers a vehicle at half the cost of a rental, about 40% less than a competing car loan. So this is a very attractive alternative, and because we're not lending customers money, we can finance those drivers. So we ended up buying a fleet of nearly 40,000 cars. We're now Uber's exclusive partner for flexible ownership. If you're a prospective Uber driver, you download the app and you say, I don't have a car, you're instantly introduced to Fair. So a little bit in terms of the momentum. We've already got 25,000 subscribing drivers in the US, 350 people. We're really divided pretty evenly between geeks, a bunch of engineers, and these are not car people. These are traditionally people who are just focused on solving big problems using technology and using predictive analytics and a lot of big data. And then we've got what we internally call the Germans. I've got a partner by the name of George Bauer, who was the CEO of Mercedes Credit Corporation, BMW Financial Services, and Tesla Financial Services. Really widely considered the father of modern car leasing. But on the German side of our business, we have an entire group of subject matter experts. And in the context of how do you raise money, you've got a big idea, you go after a big market, but you also bring together an amazing team. At this point, we fielded one of the best teams in auto finance and leasing ever put together. But these are all folks who understand every dimension of auto lending, sourcing upstream capital, making sure that we understand legal and regulatory compliance, loan, lease servicing, dealer and industry relations. To date, we've raised almost $500 million, which unlocks nearly $2.5 billion of debt. When Luke goes in and gets that car, we buy that car. So we're a very balance sheet heavy business. And so today we're adding about 500 drivers a week. We're in 25 major US cities, 13 different states. We'll be national here by the end of this year. This is a global business because auto finance is a global business as well. But it's a little bit about what we're doing. And if we're right, you're not going to go out and borrow a big pile of money to buy a depreciating asset. And it's about refinancing an entire asset class, so of about $5 trillion. Let me leave you with a short video. All right, well, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense for what we're doing and why we're able to raise a lot of money. I I know it's intimidating when you're getting started with the business to go out and raise a bunch of money. Like I said, we're at this point 2.5 years in. Our product's only been in the market for about 1 year. We're already operating at over a $250 million revenue run rate. So the business picks up very quickly, but big ideas going into big markets that are truly unique and have a lot of experts in them tend to be able to get that kind of momentum. It's a very interesting time to be raising money, so hopefully we can answer questions and talk during the panel, and thanks for listening.